In a grand chamber high above the planet Zephyr, the leaders of the Galactic Council gathered. The walls sparkled with lights, and holographic images floated in the air, showing maps of star systems and the latest reports on the ongoing conflicts. It was a serious day, one that would decide the future of their alliance and the fate of humanity. The council was made up of representatives from many races. High Commander Thrall, a tall and imposing figure with deep blue skin and glowing eyes, sat at the head of the table. He tapped his fingers impatiently as he looked at the reports. Next to him, Elira, a wise and ancient leader of the Elven kin, frowned as she read about the latest battles with the humans. "We underestimated them," Elira said, her voice calm yet firm. "They are not the weak beings we thought they were. They adapt quickly and fight fiercely." Thrall nodded, his face tense. "Our last battle was a disaster. We lost many ships and soldiers. We need a new strategy." He paused, looking around the room. "What do you suggest?" Before anyone could respond, a young leader named Zerath spoke up. He was new to the council and often overlooked. His bright green skin and youthful appearance made him seem inexperienced, but he had clever ideas. "I believe we need to understand the humans better," he said boldly. "They think differently than we do. If we can learn their ways, we can find a way to defeat them." The room went silent. Many leaders exchanged doubtful glances. High Commander Thrall raised an eyebrow. "And how do you propose we do that?" Zerath took a deep breath, feeling the weight of their gazes. "We should use advanced technology to gather intelligence. We can send a small team to infiltrate Earth. They can learn about human society, their strengths, and their weaknesses." "Foolishness," shouted General Varek, a gruff warrior with a reputation for being tough. "We cannot risk sending our best operatives into enemy territory. Humans are unpredictable." Elira shook her head. "We must listen to the young one. He has a point. The humans have shown that they can be clever. If we do not change our approach, we will face defeat." Thrall considered Elira's words. "Very well. Let us hear more of your plan, Zerath." Zerath's heart raced with excitement. "I suggest a small, elite team of operatives. They will go to Earth disguised as humans. They will gather information and report back. With this knowledge, we can craft a strategy that will ensure our victory." The leaders murmured among themselves. Some were still skeptical, but others began to see the potential in Zerath's idea. Thrall leaned back in his chair, rubbing his chin thoughtfully. "How long will this take?" "We cannot afford delays. Perhaps a few weeks," Zerath replied confidently. "But we must act quickly before the humans strengthen their defenses." After more discussion, the council reached a decision. They would allow Zerath to lead a small team to Earth. The council would provide them with the necessary resources, but they would also limit the support just in case. As the meeting wrapped up, Thrall stood up. "We will give Zerath a chance. If he succeeds, we may turn the tide of this war. If he fails, we will have to rethink our approach entirely." The leaders left the chamber with mixed feelings. Some felt hopeful about Zerath's plan, while others feared the risk involved. As they walked down the long corridors, the shadows of doubt lingered in the air. Meanwhile, Zerath felt a spark of determination ignite within him. This was his moment to prove himself. He had to succeed, not just for the council, but for all their races. He couldn't let them down. The council chamber was filled with tension as Zerath prepared to present his plan. The leaders of the Galactic Council were still buzzing from the earlier meeting. They were skeptical, but Zerath felt a fire inside him. He knew this was his chance to make a difference. Zerath stood before the council, his heart racing. He looked at the leaders, their faces a mix of doubt and curiosity. "Thank you for allowing me to share my idea," he began, his voice steady. "I believe we can win this war against the humans if we understand them better." High Commander Thrall leaned forward, his eyes narrowed. "You think we can learn about humans through a small team? They are unpredictable and dangerous." Zerath nodded. "Yes, Commander. But that is exactly why we need to understand their mindset. They have different values and ways of thinking. If we know how they think, we can find their weaknesses." Elira, the wise leader of the Elven kin, listened closely. "What exactly do you propose?" she asked, her tone more supportive than the others. Zerath took a deep breath, feeling encouraged. "I suggest we send a team to infiltrate Earth. They can observe human society, their military, and their daily lives. This way, we can gather valuable information." The room was silent for a moment as the leaders processed his words. General Varek crossed his arms, still skeptical. "How do you expect to get past their defenses?" Humans are not easy to fool. Zerath smiled confidently. We will use technology to create disguises. Our operatives can look like humans. With advanced tools, they can blend in and gather information without being detected. Elira raised an eyebrow. And what if they get caught? The consequences could be dire. Zerath shook his head. That is why we must choose our operatives carefully. They should be skilled in stealth and diplomacy. If they act smartly and keep a low profile, they can succeed. Thrall nodded slowly, considering Zerath's words. But how do we know they won't become sympathetic to the humans? We cannot risk our secrets being revealed. Zerath had anticipated this concern. We will train them thoroughly. They will understand their mission and the importance of their task. Their loyalty will remain with the Council. The leaders exchanged glances, and Zerath could see a flicker of interest in some of their eyes. He pressed on, eager to convince them. We need to take risks to win this war. If we do nothing, we may lose everything. The humans have already shown they can fight back. We must be proactive. General Varric still looked uncertain, but Elira spoke up again. I believe Zerath is right. We must take action. If we do not try, we will always wonder what could have been. Thrall's expression shifted as he began to see the potential in Zerath's plan. Very well. If we proceed, how long will this take? Zerath felt a rush of excitement. I estimate a few weeks for preparation. Once we have the team ready, we can send them to Earth. They will report back with information that will help us devise a new strategy. The room buzzed with discussion as the leaders debated the plan. Some were still worried, but others were beginning to support Zerath's idea. Finally, Thrall raised his hand to silence the chatter. We will give you a chance, Zerath. But know this, if you fail, it could cost us dearly. Zerath nodded, understanding the weight of the responsibility. I will not let you down, Commander. I will ensure our team is ready and successful. As the meeting came to a close, Zerath felt a wave of determination wash over him. This was his moment to prove himself to the Council and to show that he was not just a young leader, but a valuable asset in their fight against humanity. With a newfound sense of purpose, he left the chamber, ready to prepare the team for their crucial mission. He knew they had to succeed, and he would do everything in his power to make it happen. The Galactic Council had made their decision. Zerath's plan was in motion. As night fell on Zephyr, a small team of elite operatives prepared for their mission to Earth. They knew the stakes were high, and their success was vital for the future of the Galactic Council. Zerath stood in the command center, overseeing the final preparations. The room was filled with excitement and tension. The operatives were equipped with advanced technology, including disguise generators that would make them look like humans. Each member of the team had a specific role to play. They were determined to succeed. As the countdown began, Zerath gathered the team together. Listen carefully, he said, his voice steady but filled with urgency. Our mission is to gather information about human defenses and their society. We must blend in and avoid drawing attention. If we are caught, it could mean disaster for us all. The team nodded, their expressions serious. Among them was Kira, a skilled infiltrator known for her quick thinking and agility. She was eager to prove herself. Gron, a strong warrior with a reputation for being tough, was also part of the team. Despite his intimidating appearance, he was loyal and dependable. As the final seconds ticked away, Zerath activated the teleportation device. A bright flash enveloped the room, and suddenly, they found themselves standing in a dark alley in a bustling city on Earth. The air was thick with sounds and smells that were foreign to them. Cars zoomed by, and voices filled the streets. The sights were overwhelming, but the team quickly focused on their task. Remember your disguises, Zerath reminded them, adjusting his own appearance. With a flick of a button, his skin changed to a more human tone, and his clothes transformed into casual attire. The others followed suit, becoming unrecognizable as aliens. Let's move, Kira said, leading the way into the crowded street. The team navigated through the throngs of people, their hearts racing with anticipation. They needed to find a place to observe and gather information without raising suspicion. As they walked, Zerath marveled at the diversity of humanity. People of all shapes and sizes filled the streets. Some were laughing and talking, while others hurried past with serious expressions. It was a vibrant scene, full of life and energy. We need to find a location where we can learn about their defenses, Zerath said, scanning the area. Let's look for military bases or government buildings. They will have important information. They decided to split into pairs to cover more ground. Kira and Zerath went together, while Gron partnered with another operative named Lyra, who was skilled in technology. Kira led Zerath to a nearby park where they could observe people from a distance. They sat on a bench pretending to enjoy the view while keeping their eyes open for anything useful. As they watched, they noticed a group of people in military uniforms nearby discussing plans. "This could be our chance," Kira whispered. "If we can get closer, we might hear something important." Zerath nodded, feeling the rush of adrenaline. They carefully moved closer, blending in with the crowd. Their disguises helped them appear ordinary, but they still felt the weight of their mission pressing on them. As they listened, they learned about upcoming military exercises and the equipment the humans planned to use. Zerath took mental notes, knowing that this information would be crucial for the council. Meanwhile, Gron and Lyra were having their own success. They found a nearby coffee shop with free Wi-Fi and began to gather intelligence from online sources. Lyra hacked into a government database and accessed classified information about human defenses. "This is incredible," Lyra exclaimed, her eyes wide with excitement. "We have access to their plans and strategies. This will give us a huge advantage." As the night wore on, Zerath's team gathered more valuable information. They felt a mix of thrill and fear, knowing they were treading dangerous ground. But they had a mission to complete, and they were determined to succeed. Finally, as dawn approached, the team regrouped in the park. Zerath shared their findings, and they all felt a sense of accomplishment. They had infiltrated Earth successfully and gathered critical information. But as they prepared to return, Zerath couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. He glanced around nervously, sensing that their presence might not go unnoticed for long. "We need to get back before anyone realizes we are not what we seem," he said urgently. The team nodded, ready to leave, but their mission was far from over. The real challenge lay ahead. The sun rose over the city, casting a golden light on the streets of Earth. In a small community center, people gathered for an emergency meeting. They were worried about strange reports from around the world, unidentified ships, unusual activities, and a growing fear of an impending invasion. The air was thick with anxiety as families and friends huddled together, hoping to find answers. Tom, a local mechanic, stood at the front of the room. He was a man known for his hard work and honest nature. As he looked around at the worried faces, he felt a strong sense of responsibility. "Thank you all for coming," he began, his voice calm but firm. "We need to talk about what is happening. We can't let fear control us." A murmur ran through the crowd. Sarah, a teacher who loved her community, raised her hand. "What if these aliens are coming to attack us? We need to prepare!" Tom nodded, understanding her fear. "Yes, we should be ready. But we can't let fear divide us. If we work together, we can protect our home." The crowd quieted, and Tom could see their curiosity. "I believe that we are stronger together. We need to unite as one. Our differences make us unique, but they also make us strong. We can face any threat if we stand together." A man in the back, Marcus, stood up looking skeptical. "But what can we really do? We're just ordinary people." Tom smiled at Marcus. "Exactly. We are ordinary people, but we have each other. We have skills and knowledge. Let's use them. We can organize groups to gather information and share resources. If these aliens are a threat, we must show them that we will not back down." The crowd started to nod, some murmuring their agreement. Sarah stood up again, feeling inspired. "We could form teams. Some can focus on gathering information about these ships, while others can organize community defense. If we work together, we can be ready for anything." Tom felt the energy in the room shift. "That's the spirit!" "We can set up a network to communicate. Each neighborhood can report what they see. Knowledge is power. If we understand what we're facing, we can plan our response." The atmosphere grew electric as people began to talk excitedly about their ideas. Lena, a local farmer, raised her hand. "We can also stockpile food and supplies. If something happens, we need to be prepared for anything." "Yes!" Tom exclaimed. "Every community can gather supplies. We can share resources so that no one goes hungry. Let's also reach out to nearby towns and cities. If this is a real threat, we need to be united as a larger force." As the discussion continued, the sense of community deepened. People shared their skills. Some knew self-defense, while others had medical training. They began to form plans and committees, working together to create a strategy. Hours passed, and the sun began to set, casting a warm glow over the community center. Tom could see the determination in the eyes of his neighbors. They were no longer just individuals. They were becoming a united front. "Let's meet again tomorrow," Tom suggested. "We can finalize our plans and figure out how to contact other communities. Together, we can create a powerful network of support." People began to clap, their spirits lifted. They were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. As they left the community center, Tom felt a sense of hope. They might be ordinary people, but together, they were anything but weak. As night fell, Tom returned home, his mind racing with ideas. He knew the road ahead would not be easy, but he was confident in his community. They would stand together against any threat. In the days that followed, the united efforts of the community grew stronger. They communicated, shared information, and organized their resources. News of their determination spread to other towns, inspiring people everywhere. The people of Earth were beginning to unite, ready to face the unknown together. They would show any invaders that humanity was not to be underestimated. They were strong, resilient, and ready to fight for their home. As they prepared for the challenges ahead, Tom knew that their unity was their greatest weapon. No matter what came their way, they would stand together, ready to defend their world. The sun set over the small town of Maplewood, casting long shadows on the streets. Emily, a bright and curious teenager, was heading home after a long day at school. As she walked, she noticed something strange in the sky. A bright light flickered, moving erratically. It was not a plane, and it seemed too fast to be a drone. Intrigued, she quickened her pace, eager to find out what it was. When she reached her house, Emily rushed inside. "Mom, Dad! Did you see that light in the sky?" she called out, her voice filled with excitement. Her father, Mr. Thompson, looked up from the newspaper. "What light?" he asked, confused. Emily explained what she had seen. Her parents exchanged glances, unsure of what to make of it. Maybe it was just a meteor, her mother suggested. "No, it was different." "I think it was something else," Emily insisted, her mind racing. She decided to investigate further. That evening, after dinner, Emily grabbed her notebook and a flashlight. She wanted to document her findings. "I'm going to the old observatory," she told her parents. They hesitated but eventually agreed, knowing how passionate Emily was about astronomy. The old observatory had been abandoned for years, hidden on a hill outside of town. It was a perfect spot to see the stars, and possibly the strange light she had seen. As she made her way up the hill, the night air was cool and crisp, and the stars began to twinkle above her. When she reached the observatory, Emily pushed open the creaky door. Inside, dust filled the air and cobwebs hung in the corners. She switched on her flashlight, illuminating the old telescope. This could still work, she thought. She wiped off the dust and aimed it at the sky. As she looked through the lens, she gasped. The bright light was back. It darted across the sky, leaving a faint trail behind it. "This is amazing," she whispered to herself. She quickly grabbed her notebook to sketch what she saw. Suddenly, the light changed direction and began to descend rapidly toward the nearby forest. Emily's heart raced. Was it a spacecraft? She had to know more. Without thinking, she grabbed her backpack and headed outside, determined to follow the light. The forest was dark and silent as she walked cautiously between the trees. The sounds of crickets filled the air, and the moonlight guided her steps. After a few minutes, she arrived at a clearing where the light had landed. To her astonishment, she saw a small, glowing object half buried in the ground. It was not big, but it shimmered with colors she had never seen before. "What is this?" she thought, her excitement bubbling over. She approached it carefully, her heart pounding. As she got closer, the object began to pulse with light, and a low humming sound filled the air. Emily knelt down, reaching out to touch it. The moment her fingers made contact, the object surged with energy, sending a shockwave through her body. Images flooded her mind, pictures of galaxies, strange creatures, and advanced technology. She saw a vision of beings who looked both human and alien. They were warning her about an impending danger to Earth. Emily gasped and pulled her hand away, breathless and overwhelmed. "What was that?" she murmured, her mind racing. She realized this was no ordinary object. It was a message from another world. Suddenly, the ground shook and Emily stumbled back. She looked around in panic. Had her touch triggered something? The object began to lift into the air, hovering before her. It was glowing brighter, and Emily knew she had to act quickly. With her heart racing, she took out her phone and recorded the scene. I need proof, she thought. As she filmed, the object emitted a beam of light into the sky, creating a dazzling display of colors. Just then, Emily heard voices approaching. She quickly hid behind a tree, her heart pounding. Two figures emerged from the darkness, and she held her breath. They were dressed in dark uniforms, their faces obscured by masks. They looked serious and were scanning the area with flashlights. Emily realized these must be the ones who were searching for the object. I have to warn the town, she whispered to herself. Gathering her courage, she slowly backed away, ready to escape and share her shocking discovery.